Hey, Vinyl Community, it's David Michael. This is going to be a weird one for several reasons, which I'll get to. I'm filming this, and it's Friday afternoon around 3, and I'll probably be posting this Sunday afternoon at some point Sunday morning. And why is this a weird one, and why does the time of day play into all this? Well, I got off work at 8 o'clock this morning. I started work at midnight, worked till 8, and I have not been to sleep. And why have I not been to sleep, and why might I be a little incoherent, you say? You might say that at the end of this video, if I stumble through this one. Of course, why didn't I sleep? I had to go to a vinyl sale. That's the only reason why I wouldn't sleep. I have the weekend off, so I elected not to sleep. And I just got back from, well, I got back about an hour ago from this vinyl sale that, well, I'll get to that in a second. But anyways, if you'll recall, I mean, getting back to everything, I mean, that's the only thing that would probably keep me up, which will end up being probably about 24 hours straight. Because, you know, I'm sick in the head for vinyl, right? Just like you. Basically what happened, if you see my last video, I went to that garage sale that really wasn't a garage sale, but it wasn't. That one where I had to walk up the stairs. I can send this guy an email. He doesn't usually have these sales. Like I said last video, he's not in the business of selling vinyl. He kind of accumulates a lot of antiques and art, and he comes across collections when he buys, you know, I don't know, he goes to out of town barn sales and buys all these antiques, and he ends up with all these records. So he has this sale every couple of years, as I said in my last video. And when I saw him last weekend, I only had a certain amount of money. So it's a pay week. So what does that mean? I don't sleep, I go to a vinyl sale. But it really wasn't a sale so much. As I emailed him and I asked him, hey, there's some stuff I left behind. Do you mind if I pop by? My wife would like to see you again. She had a nice talk with you. Really, really nice guy. He said, yeah, come over Friday. He was only going to be there at noon, so which meant I had to stay up. Not the biggest deal in the world. But he also said he had some stuff he hadn't put out. So yeah, I went over, and so I call it a vinyl sale, but really it's just a continuation of the sale from last weekend. And he doesn't open his doors to people. The vinyl's put away until the next time he decides to have a sale. But this guy was so nice, he took all the vinyl out of storage and laid it all out for me, and I went back in. And he took my wife around and showed him all this old building that he occupies, and I just kind of looked through all the new stuff he had that he hadn't put out before. Some of it, like I said, I had left behind, and I kind of regretted and went back. So that's what I'm going to show you right now. I have one brand new album that came in the mail, and I'm going to get this out of the way. I always say this, and then I always say, I'm going to preface everything by saying all the vinyl is really good condition. And then I say that, and then when I show you the record, I tell you the condition of the record. So today we're gonna do this. They're all good condition records, and I'm not going to talk about the condition anymore. Most of them are $3, like the last time. A couple were more than that, but like I said, like the last sale, the last video, once I gave him the pile of records, he knocked about $25 off the price. So even the ones that were more than $3 ended up being $3 to $5, which you'll see it's quite the bargain for what I'm going to show you. So cheers, everyone. 4 minutes and 45 seconds to tell you all this. What you're listening to now, you didn't ask. Amon Düül 2, Wolf City. Why not? Why not? It's a Friday afternoon. I don't work for 3 days. Amon Düül 2. You all know Amon Düül 2. I haven't cracked that album in a while, so I'm quite enjoying that one right now. The only new record that came in the mail, and I kind of got trumped by Andy. Not really trumped. He posted about this one. I think he might have made a whole video about it. I did watch it. I'm sorry, Andy, I've not slept in almost 24 hours. But I was super excited about this, and the story I'm going to tell you is going to be really quick about this album. But this is a heavy sucker. This is the reissue of Celtic Frost to Megatherion. It's a heavy sucker. It says 180 gram vinyl, but my God, it feels like 400 gram vinyl. There's a book inside. I think there's a poster inside. Really quick story. I was in a lot of art classes in high school. I used to be a good artist. I was good at something else besides vinyl collecting, apparently, at one point in life. But one of our class assignments in grade 12 was to kind of do some art based on your favorite album cover. I guess the teacher was trying to relate to young kids in her class and be all hip. And I brought this album as, H.R. Geiger. I kind of wanted to replicate this, but we had to do a form of art called, I believe it's called pointillism. Everything is all a series of dots. I brought this album and started working on it. And I went to Catholic high school my whole life. That's just how my parents put me in school, and how the school system went in my area. Which is odd because let's keep religion out of this, right? It doesn't necessarily reflect my beliefs nowadays. Anyways, I got sent home for having this album. I did. And subsequently, I remember I got sent home for wearing a Dead Candy shirt to school one day. And oddly enough, the replacement album cover to this one that I decided to do an artwork for was Jane's Addiction, Nothing Shocking, which I got sent home for. True story. Anyways, the only new album that came in is this insanely good reissue of Celtic or Celtic Frost, however you want to pronounce it, to Megatherion. I've been waiting for this to be reissued forever, ever and a day. One of my favorite, I don't even know if they have a genre. It's not death metal, it's not thrash metal, it's just Celtic Frost metal, I guess. Okay, let's get to today's find. Like I said, most of them are $3. Let's get to this. Duane Allman, double anthology. This was one that I believe I had left behind, and I don't know why. Like I said, I only had so much money for the first sale. This is, like I said, double anthology on Capricorn Records. Duane Allman solo material. I have a friend named Tom. Tom, if you're watching. Tom is really into the Allman Brothers. He's really into Duane Allman, and he's kind of turned me on to a lot of that stuff. So this is kind of like, although I've dipped the toe in the water of Duane Allman's solo material, this is kind of my first proper album by Duane Allman, although it's a double anthology. But that was a really nice pickup. So thank you, Tom, if you're watching, for kind of introducing me to the works of Duane Allman. I should also say, by the way, really quickly, the shirt, if you saw this, and you might have saw a video I posted, I did see Duran Duran this week. Don't laugh. Because there was a lot of vinyl community members there. Won't name names, but you know who you are. But the odd thing is, I went to see Duran Duran, took my wife, and really good show. A band called Capital Cities opened up, and they were fucking dreadful. And I don't say this to be like I'm so fucking big and important in the vinyl community, but goddamn did I not get recognized 3 times for these YouTube videos. And like I said, I'm not pointing that out like I'm so big or important. It's more embarrassing because if you're in Little Rock, Arkansas or somewhere, I don't care if you see my videos, but if you're local, the vinyl community in Edmonton, where I'm from, it's kind of a small insular group, relatively speaking. So, and I really didn't know that a lot of local people see my videos. They certainly don't tell me about it, generally speaking, but at the Duran Duran concert, 3 times. It's embarrassing. You know, like I said, I don't care if you're in Missouri and you know I'm an idiot, but locally, I was going to say I have a reputation to maintain, but I really don't. That was my kind of aside about seeing Duran Duran and seeing a lot of vinyl community members. I was surprised to see it's a fun show. So That was kind of cool to see a lot of people I recognize from the community there. Next find from today, Pentangle, Cruel Sister. This is an original Reprise Records pressing. Gatefold. I'll try not to show too much of the vinyl just to kind of save some time, but original gatefold, brown Reprise label. I am somewhat familiar with Pentangle. I believe Andy, once again, Andy and Ed, and I talked about Andy twice now. Andy at Andy's Vinyl Den, he's a big Pentangle fan. I am a Pentangle fan, and that's not because I don't like them, it's because I've not really listened to them enough to kind of form an educated opinion on them. This is probably my second Pentangle album, but I will definitely give them a listen. Andy, I'm sorry, is it, I can't remember if it's Pentangle or Renaissance. I mean, it might be both bands you like, I don't know. But I thought it was Pentangle that you like. You'll probably not correct me. Next find, and this album confuses the shit out of me. I am well aware of the original Vertigo Records pressing that's quite highly desired. This is a Canadian Columbia Records pressing of Gentle Giant, Three Friends. This is what confuses the hell out of me. You might remember from a couple of videos ago, I found this original Mercury pressing of this Gentle Giant. Different track listing than this. This says 1972. This says 1972. Different albums. And I've not bothered to Google what the differences is. Someone will I'm sure will tell me. But I wasn't going to pass that up for a few bucks. Gentle Giant, like I said, Columbia Records pressing of Three Friends. One of these days, I'm going to go to one of these damn sales, and I'm going to find a Vertigo Swirl pressing of that album. You watch. Next three albums are going to kind of have a little linear theme to them, and you'll kind of catch on really quick. I've been in, sorry Billy Hurst, I'm going to talk about Neil Young, fast forward. I've been in a really big Neil Young mood lately. I saw a really good documentary on YouTube. It was done by BBC4. It's on YouTube. Type in BBC Neil Young documentary, it'll come up. It's probably the best Neil Young documentary I've ever seen. It starts with his original band, the Squires in Winnipeg. It goes to Buffalo Springfield, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. It's a really good, comprehensive documentary. I highly recommend it. But I went through my vinyl and I didn't have a copy of Comes a Time. And I knew this guy had one. And I was like, oh, well, I'm going to this guy's house anyways, or walk-up building. And yeah, so Neil Young, Comes a Time. Slowly closing the gap to getting all my Neil Young albums together. Although Billy Hurst, I know you've expressed your dislike of Neil Young. Well, not dislike, it's not your thing. But if you come across any albums by him, let me know. Second in this little kind of little Neil Young theme is I found an original pressing of Crazy Horse. Once again, an original Reprise Records. Crazy Horse, if you don't know, is Neil Young's backing band. So it's Neil Young and Crazy Horse. This is a solo album. It's a band that it's an album they did on their own. A lot of you will know this album, so it doesn't really need explaining. But in fact, I just realized, I thought I peeled all the stickers off. Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to peel the price stickers off before I show them to you, not to be like a show-offy asshole. But that was a whole $5 today. And I was just a show-offy asshole to you. I'm sorry about that. So yeah, Neil Young Crazy Horse original pressing on Reprise. And the final one of the Neil Young trilogy. Billy, you can come back here right away. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Four-Way Street. This album, I've sold a lot of copies at my record stores, and I've never heard it. I know it's a live album, and I know a lot of the songs are some Neil Young solo songs and some CSNY songs, but I look forward to listening to this. As soon as I'm done this video, actually, I'm going to pop this one on. So I got a copy of Four-Way Street today for relatively next to nothing. This was an amazing find. I want to make this my screen cap. I'm sorry, but I have a reissue of this. And many years ago when I was a poor young man, I've referred to this story many times. When you move out on your own, you're not working, you're trying to work, you're not getting enough hours at work. I was, Well, I'm an old man. Well, old man. Sorry, not that old. I feel old these days. When I was much younger, I had to sell a lot of my albums to pay the rent. Like a lot, probably you all might have shared a similar story. And I sold my original pressing of this one. I have a reissue, which I'll probably pass along to maybe my stepdaughter or someone like that. And I got this was a $5 today too. Original pressing, although it's Canadian, but London Calling by The Clash. So let's do the screen cap. No, that's stupid. There we go. That's a screen cap. Yeah, so after all these years, I get an original Canadian pressing back of London Calling for a few bucks, $5. This one, there's a couple coming up that I was just kind of like jaw was. Not that they were ever most wanted. They're just not albums maybe you guys come across them. I don't know. I don't. This is the first album by 10 Years After called Undead, and it's an original Deerham London Records pressing from the U.S. actually. I have not looked on Discogs to see if this actually came out in Canada, so I'm not sure if all Canadian copies were imported or this guy just lucked upon some American albums. I don't know, but like I said, first album by 10 Years After, 1968, I believe. Alvin Lee, we all know Alvin Lee. But yeah, that was an incredible find today, an original pressing of 10 Years After Undead. There you go. This one was really exciting too because I'll take it out of the plastic for no apparent reason. This is, I think, one of the only early ZZ Top albums I didn't have, but I found a copy of Rio Grande Mud. This is original pressing. Well, it's a London Records pressing. And whoever this guy acquired these albums from was nice enough to use angel sleeves on them, so thank you. This album's been well protected. This album alone is worth it for Just Got Paid. That's on this album, Rio Grande Mud. So I was super excited. And I think now I have all the early ZZ Top albums on London Records. And oddly enough, I have found them all at thrift stores or similar priced sales. So I have, I think, the first, whatever was released on London Records from ZZ Top. I have all of them now. And like I said, I've acquired them all at thrift stores and whatnot. How annoying is that when you put records back? Anyways, I don't have any Al Green in my collection, and I can't profess to be the biggest Al Green fan, but you know what? I like enough of his songs to get a greatest hits album. And tonight, I'm going to try to romance the wife with Al Green. And in no way will it work. Al Green's greatest hits. That was a couple bucks today. Let's Stay Together alone is worth it. And I think I've always been meaning to pick up more Al Green records. And I think this might be the impetus to, how's that word? Impetus. To get more Al Green records. So I really look forward to listening to this one tonight. And when I think I'm going to be romancing my wife, she'll be yelling at me from upstairs to turn this shit off, probably. Because it's not Depeche Mode. That's not the only band she likes. Al Green, greatest hits. I was really excited. Here's another one of those albums that I just couldn't believe I got for a few bucks. This is the first James Gang album called Your Album. And I'm not sure if this is a original first pressing. It is one of the very early pressings. It's on Dunhill Records. I think the original pressing of this came out on a small label. Now, this is the exhaustion kind of catching up to me because I did know this before I filmed this video. But this is if it's not original, it's a very, very early pressing of the first James Gang album called Your Album. This one has Funk 48 on it. And he had a copy of James Gang Rides Again with Funk 49 on it. We all know that one. It just wasn't in the greatest condition, so I didn't want it. Even though if it was a few bucks, I'm really trying not to pick up albums I want that are shit condition, because it's just, I'm going to be doing a huge pull right away. So one of these videos coming up, you're going to see a lot of gaps. I'm doing a massive pull. I'm going to sell all these kind of albums I don't really listen to, don't need, and I'm going to start buying the expensive Grail albums I want. But I was really excited to find this one. Like I said, James Gang, Your album. If you don't know James Gang, the first album to feature a young Joe Walsh. There you go. This one I know nothing about, and I can only guess. And by the time you comment on this and tell me what they are, I will have listened to it, and I'll probably have done some research on it. But it just looked interesting. I looked at the back of it, and I was like, yeah, I'll try this for $3. The band is called Area Code 615, and it's called Trip in the Country. And I kind of very briefly Googled this one, and this is an original Polydor pressing. And I don't know what drew me to it. When I think this is 1970. Anyways, so I just don't know what draws me to this album. So when I see albums from the late 60s, early 70s with this Polydor logo, they kind of look vaguely, I don't know, kind of hip for 1969, 1970. I gotta try it. So some of you might know this album. I don't know. I'll report back next video and tell you what I think of it. Area Code 615, Trip in the Country. I'm gonna guess it's some kind of a country rock, maybe bluesy, psychedelic thing. Who knows? But I'll try that for a couple bucks, and if not, I'm sure I can find a home for it. These albums all kind of have a little bit of a theme to it, in the sense that they're kind of more like modern rock albums. And I realize I don't really show you guys. By the way, I don't show you every album I pick up, because I don't know. If I sat here and showed you a lot of 80s albums I pick up, who's gonna watch it? They're common albums. In fact, I've mentioned this before. I do a DJ an 80s night, really big 80s night, and it's our only summer one is tomorrow night, actually. Anyways, so I grew up in the 80s, like I've said in other videos. That's kind of what I didn't grow up with prog and psych, and I did grow up with metal. But 80s music is a big part of my life. And I don't really show you guys all these kind of 80s, late 70s, 80s kind of new wave albums, more modern rock, whatever you want to call them. But I knew last video, I picked up an XTC album from this guy, White Music. And I knew I left this one behind because I thought I had it, and I didn't. And I couldn't remember if it was an original Circle one. You'll see what I'm going to be talking about here. XTC, The Big Express. I couldn't remember. I know he had a copy. I didn't know if there's, the originals came in the Circle. I'm just happy to have this for a few bucks. It's an original Canadian Virgin Records pressing. So, God, when I started with, I think I just had a copy of Drums and Wires a couple months ago. And I've just been finding XTC albums and picking them up and loving every single one of them. And I've mentioned his name before, so Jeff, I don't mean to embarrass you. But Jeff Party, thank you for, once again, this is probably the third time I've thanked you for this damn video you made about Skylarking by XTC, but it's kind of kicked my ass into XTC kind of groove, picking their albums up. This next one, we're getting down to the last couple, don't worry. I've never seen this before, and I took it out, and you can tell when they're UK copies of vinyl, because they don't have the lip on the vinyl. You all know this. Some of you might not. North American albums, generally speaking, they have a, that little fat lip and the needle drops and, it goes on the album. UK ones, there's no lip. They're just thin. So anyways, when I find, when I'm pulling out an album and I know there's no lip, I know it's a UK pressing. So I've never seen this album before, but it's a hybrid Bryan Ferry Roxy Music collection called the Ultimate Collection. And like I said, it's a UK pressing. And it's kind of half Bryan Ferry's greatest hits and half Roxy Music's greatest hits. And there's some unreleased songs on here. But I mainly picked this up for the Roxy Music songs. I think I might have mentioned this last video, but Darren Locke. I mentioned Darren Locke sometimes. Darren, I like your stuff. He recently did some reviews of Roxy Music albums, which once again, like Jeff Party did with the XTC albums, it reminded me that I have not heard Roxy Music in a long time, and I don't own a lot of their records on vinyl. I got the CDs. So this was a perfect one. When you're stuck for something to listen to, Bryan Ferry, Roxy Music, this will do. And by the way, like I said before, I'm going to see Brian Ferry's playing my city next month, I believe. So I'm kind of excited about that. But Love is the Drugs on here, and Slave to Love, and you know, all those hits that Brian Ferry had solo, and the kind of the bigger Roxy music songs. There you go. And I talked way too long about Brian Ferry Roxy music greatest hits. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up really quick with 2 albums. I'm gonna do a 2-in-1. This with the Duane Allman, I believe, was kind of this was the starting point to me taking a risk by emailing this guy and asking him if I can come back. And I don't know if I actually talked about this at the top. I might have. I'm gonna watch back this video. I'm gonna realize I freaking talked about this already. But anyways, when this guy Sale last week, I dropped him an email. It was pay week, like I said. And can I come over? There's some albums I left behind. I think I did talk about this already. I'm tired. This was 2 of the albums I left behind because I was just out of money. And I was banking on no one who came after me to the sale picked them up, and they didn't. So these were, I think, a big whopping $3 each. Echo and the Bunnymen. I don't have any Echo and the Bunnymen albums. I love Echo and the Bunnymen. In fact, my old band. Really quick story. One of my really only claim to fame is that I was in a band and we opened for the Brian's Jonestown Massacre in my city to a sold out crowd. We played one big gig opening for Brian Jonestown Massacre, and how that plays Echo and the Bunnymen is that we did a cover of The Killing Moon at that show. There you go. These stories. Echo and the Bunnymen. Of course, this one has Lips Like Sugar on it. And Heaven Up Here. I can't believe I did not have this on vinyl. These are all original Sire Records pressing. This is one of the best kind of alternative 80s albums ever. So 2 Echo and the Bunnymen albums, and like I said, this and the Duane Allman, although they're completely opposite, was kind of the impetus for me to go back to this guy's house and reach out to him. So you never know what's going to happen when you try. You know, what harm would have been? The worst the guy could have said is, no, I'm not selling you records off, other than these sales. But he was such a nice guy, had me over, and I got this haul. So there you go. We're going to end this here. And I hope against all hope that this all makes sense when I watch this back, because I don't watch my videos back. I'm going to watch this one back and absolutely see how stupid I was. So anyways, there you go. We'll see you next time. David Michael, the Vinyl Community. Have a great weekend, everyone. Have a great next week, and we'll see you down the road.